Thanks for staying with us. The campaign against gender inequality and domestic violence cannot be overemphasized. Joining us on the show this morning to educate us on the menace of gender inequality and domestic violence, its effects on the home and society at large, is Cynthia Aboki. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah,
thank you.
Nice having you.
Thank you.
I know that you carry out seminars where you talk about, you preach against gender inequality and domestic abuse, domestic violence. What is the crux of your message when you go on those sort of seminars?
Okay. Aside from seminars, I also organize creative events in schools, secondary schools. I believe that every grown-up person or every person who is engaging in domestic violence started as a child or grew up in the home where abuse, was taking place. So when they grow up with that imprinted in their minds. Wow. Every child is like a blank page. We fill them with what we want them to have on the inside. So when they grow up in an environment that is very toxic, an environment that domestic violence is taking place, they grow up with that mindset and they become perpetrators or they become victims. So when I organize these events in secondary schools, I organize seminars, competitions, I go with the mindset to catch them young, to groom them, reorientate their minds, so that when they grow up, they can actually become better people. The circle has to be broken. So we have to start from when they are young.
Yeah, so it's good that you go to, like you mentioned, in secondary schools. But for some people, it is not a one-off interaction that stops domestic violence. If the thought process has already been formed, they go into it. Some need deep counseling, therapy for a longer period of time. Do you offer that? And if you do you have partners that that help you work with people that have that?
Over time, we've partnered with churches, with schools. Aside from the programs we do, we also run a mentorship program for these youths. We know that just interacting with them maybe for the first time is not enough. We do a follow-up. We also have, that's the initiative that I run, the TSIIS initiative, the Strong, Independent, Inspired Self initiative. Under that initiative, we follow up these young people and we mentor them. I have some of them, that, over time they come to my home, they come to my business place, they get involved with some of the skill acquisition programs I carry out. Yeah, so we know that it's not just enough to interact with them through the programs we do. We still follow them up through the mentorship programs.
Mike, do you have a question?
No, she's still talking now.
Okay.
I wanted to follow up on the skill acquisition that you talked about.
Yes.
For most of them, what kind of skill acquisition do you see them take most times? Do you give them? And is there a grant? Because people, Nigerians, we have skills. So most people just sit with this skill. For some, they need a business training, they need assistance, and do you offer that? And how do you raise funds for that?
Okay. First of all, at the moment, we don't have grants. Everything that has been happening has been self-financed. And then I've also gotten finance from family and friends. The basic skills we run includes hairdressing, photography, makeup, fashion designing. What we've been able to do over the years since 2013 is you train under us, we'll equip you with equipment, just something, not so much. Maybe a sewing machine, a hairdryer.
It's a lot.
Just get you going.
Just get started. Get started, then we follow up. And recently, from the people that has passed under us, under my initiative, from research, we found out that some of them go back home and they don't do anything with the skills. because they've not been orientated. They have the mindset, oh, let me just get this training. I might do something later. A particular boy that trained under me said, Auntie, when I'm done with this, I'm actually going to start Yahoo. Because how many hairs will I make?
But people are making it from making hairs.
That is where the orientation comes. Their mindset has been, maybe because of the society, the locality they grew up in. So we'll have to start with, remolding their mind, reorienting their minds. Let them know that you don't have to.
It must not be easy.
Rome is not built in a day.
Yeah.
You start
there's a process.
Yes, there's a process. Start from somewhere.
Okay, Cynthia, are you ready now? Yeah. So for the benefits of people watching, help us understand what gender inequality means and how it translates into domestic violence.
Okay. Let me give an example. In the home environment, you have a boy, you have a girl. Certain families, they believe, oh, the boy is the head. Through him, my lineage continues. But the girl comes and she gets married off. I'm using myself as an example. When I was born, my family members told my dad, waiting you born, na girl. And my dad said, this girl...
Are you the first child?
Yes, I'm the first child, yes. My dad said, this girl is going to be worth more than 10 sons. So over time, he tried his best. He put me in very expensive schools. And they'll be like, why are you wasting your money?
Wow.
So if it was a boy, probably they would not have...
No, it's not probably.
They will not.
They would not have, batted an eyelid on what he was spending to educate me. So that is an example of gender inequality. Girls, boys, the boy child, the girl's child, the girl child, they're not given equal opportunity. And it transcends into the society, in the workplace, in the business place. And that stems from our beliefs as Africans and as Nigerians,
I don't think it's really as Africans. It's because of colonialism. Because really, Africans really treasured women. It's women that worked. The men stayed at home. So it is the colonialism that has, because it is in Oyibo lands that the woman was the underdog and that they had to fight for
freedom,
for that
emancipation.
Yes, emancipation. And it has just transferred to because of our religion and colonialism. But I was going to ask you, what made you start this thing? And like you're saying, you're not making money. So how are you going to fund it eventually? Because you can't continue with your own funds.
What motivated me? First of all, my story. Growing up, I was my dad's best friend. He never hid anything from me. And when they would come to the house and make certain comments, I would hear. And over time, I saw that it was just not peculiar to me. Other girls in society also have similar experiences. And I never knew it was going to get to this point. I finished university. All I just wanted to do was start a business. But in the community where I live and have my business situated, I noticed that women are being unjustly treated. And the area of domestic violence, young girls are being molested by people they know, people who are supposed to protect them.
Wow,
and nothing
that's a story.
And nothing is being done about it. And that very day, I was just, going through the internet. A friend of my mom came to the house and she was just talking about it. And they talked about it and they were like, oh, it is well. May God help us. And it triggered something. I got angry. And at that time, I didn't have the power to do anything. But I just thought about it. Why don't you start with sensitization, educating them? And from there, this is where I found myself.
And the last part, how are you going to continue to fund it? You can't continue to fund it by yourself.
Yes, right now I'm seeking partnerships from organizations, from the government. And over the years, since 2017 till 2018, I've had collaborations with the government, Ministry of Youth, Lagos State, and I'm hoping it will continue.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about male abuses, because we see domestic violence or sexual violence more, and people talk about female. How much of the male boy child abuse have you seen? And how rampant is it?
Well, the male child abuse is something people are not really talking about. Lately, we are seeing and we are hearing about boys being sodomized, but we sweep it under the carpet because we believe the boy child is supposed to be strong, and they are not supposed to show pain, show emotions, and that is one thing. I started with talking about the girl child abuse, speaking out for girls. But over time, when I began to find out that boys are also victims, you know, I inculcated it to what I am doing. I also educate the boys in the seminars that you have to speak out. Yeah, girls are supposed to show their emotions. They're supposed to speak out when things go wrong. Speak out. Because if you don't speak out, we don't know how or where to start in solving the problem.
How do you help a victim who suffered any form, boy or girl? How do you help them?
Okay. I am also partnering with a group of psychologists. My brother is one of them. So we, along the line, if there's any case I come in contact with that I cannot cope with on my own, I refer.
Therapy.
All right. Thank you so much, Cynthia,
Thank you
for being on the show.
Thank you.
Next, we move on to our hot topic. Stay with us.